If you've been looking for a reason to get the Spellbinders BetterPress, I think I have 3 for you today. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel, and today I'll be sharing several items from 3 new collections that feature the Spellbinders BetterPress. We have the Yana Smakula Let's Celebrate collection, there's also the Copperplate collection, and the Mirrored Arch collection. I've combined these all together because they really all do highlight the BetterPress and the gorgeous cards that you can create with it. Let's start with the Let's Celebrate BetterPress registration press plates and wax seal. First up, let's take a look at the Let's Celebrate wax seal stamp. This is a rectangular wax seal stamp, so it's a little unique. It says Let's at the top and then Celebrate in larger letters throughout the stamp. There's also a Let's Celebrate registration press plate. So this is the Celebrate Flowers registration press plates, and the registration means that it comes with a guide so that you can easily make your card into 2 colors with the press plates. So here is that guide, and here are the 2 press plates. You can easily do the flowers in one color and the words in another color. When you're using the BetterPress, I like to tape down the cardstock. It's a special cotton cardstock. You'll also want to tape down the guide. Now the guide is going to get taped down on your magnetic platform, and then you'll line up one or the other of the plates first and grab an ink. I'm using the new Garnet ink, and I'm easily stamping up this entire press plate in one color. There's enough room on this plate, you could probably do more than one color, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Once I'm done, I flip that top over and then run it through my die cut machine, and here's Celebrate in that garnet color. Next, I take the Celebrate off and then I place the second plate, which has the flowers, exactly on the guide where it's supposed to go. You can see that it lines up perfectly inside those guidelines. Then flip over the same piece of paper that you were already working on. Don't take it off, keep it on there, and you can see that then you press on the flowers. So here I'm going to start with the flowers just to show you that you can go in either direction. It doesn't matter what order you go in. You're just going to do one at a time and keep that paper in place until it is completely done. So you run it through twice in the same situation with the same paper on that same place. This time I'm using taffy for the top 3 letters, tiger for those middle 3 letters, and then this last color for the bottom 3 letters. So now, because these letters are far enough apart, I can get even more colors onto my one card. I like to clean off that acetate guide before I flip it over and run it through my die cut machine, because you could get a little bit of an ink smear if you're not careful by clearing off that acetate. So here are a couple of the Celebrates that I've created. Now let's make some of those wax seals. I have 2 different colors of wax beads in here, and I've put in about 5 beads to start. And that's because with a rectangular stamp that's slightly larger, you definitely want to pour it out in an oval shape at least, not completely rounded, so that you have enough wax from top to bottom, and you can then place the wax seal on top. And when it's dry, you can remove it. It comes right off the silicone mat, and you can see that the complete letters are all on this wax. Same thing here, and then same thing here. So now I'll take some deco color pens. I also have that Molotow white paint pen here. I thought that would look really pretty on the blue, and since it's a paint pen, it should stay nicely on the wax. Here they are all colored in so you can see them a little bit better. I'm using one of the arch dies from the Monsters Birthday collection, and I've tied some twine around that. Now I'll use a round wax seal adhesive. Place it down on the wax, like give it a little rub on the back, and then pull off that protective layer, and you can easily adhere it down to your project. So now I'll just add some foam squares to the back of that arch. I love the little treatment around it that it creates with those dies. And then just a few of those fashion pearls from Spellbinders as flower centers for the top letters and bottom letters. Really easy to create this colorful card. For this card, since we have just the pink and the blue, I'm cutting down the wax seal to the rectangle that it is in the center. So you can always do this with your wax seals. You can cut around so that it's a perfect circle, or here it's that nice rectangle. I'm tying some white string around this scalloped rectangle that I cut out. It's another Spellbinders die set, and I'll link everything that I use down below. And then again, that little wax seal adhesive circle, and then just tuck in the sides. That's fine. Just have a little extra adhesive tucked in there. And this time, instead of placing it on the B, I'll place it next to the L and the R. And again, pop this up on top of my A2 cardstock background with some foam squares, and then again add some of those pearls as little accents to the flowers. I love these colors together. Here I also have an arch die. This is one without the treatment on the outside, the little cuts on the outside. And this time I'm using some embroidery thread in a gold color to tie around there. And then once again, I will grab a wax seal adhesive circle and press that down onto my project. I trimmed those little strings and then popped up that panel on that cardstock background. You can see how easy it is to get 3 totally different looks from this wax seal stamp and press plates. Now let's take a look at the Miss You press plate from the Copperplate collection. There is just one plate in this set, but it is absolutely gorgeous. Just look at that handwritten font. It is so beautiful. It looks like calligraphy, and that is something that I cannot do. So I love this press plate. I think I will get a couple of the other ones. They also have other sentiments like thank you and just a bunch of different things. So I ran it through with a black ink, and then I'm trying out a silver pigment ink from Catherine Pooler. Now, you are going to get absolutely the best results using the Spellbinder BetterPress inks. Does that mean that you can't use inks that you have? Of course it doesn't. You can use whatever you want, but you're going to get the cleanest impression with those Spellbinders inks. That being said, I love the way the silver turned out. The other thing you can do with press plates is you can use them with the glimmer machine just like you would a foil plate. So that really adds a whole other dimension to these press plates, that you can use them foiled with the BetterPress, with inks that you have, cardstocks you have. So there's really a lot of variety, but as you can see, the Miss You in the center, absolutely the crispest, the clearest, and the best impression. So that's the one I'm going to use here. I've cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and now I'm using the Spellbinders corner rounder on all 4 corners. I have a black piece of cardstock that's 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and I'll round those corners as well. Put some tape runner behind the Miss You and add it to the black cardstock, tape runner behind the black cardstock, and add it to an A2 piece of gold mirror cardstock. And I still can't get over how gorgeous this handwritten font is. Now let's take a look at the press plates and embossing folder that you can find in the Mirrored Arch collection. The first set that we'll take a look at is the Mirrored Arch Blooms. Comes with 2 plates. One is that blooms around the outside, and then the other is the sentiment in the center. So I have taffy. Again, this is one of my favorite new colors. I absolutely love this pink, and I didn't put the sentiment down yet. I'm just inking up all of the flowers around that ring, all in one color. Then I place the sentiment down. There's enough room for me to tap the ink onto that sentiment without having to run it through separately. So I'll put them both down on the magnetic plate, flip over my clear plate, and then run it through my die cut machine, and you can see that it came out beautifully. I love that sentiment in the center is so stunning, and these flowers are gorgeous. This is another one, obviously, any of the press plates you can use with the glimmer machine and foil. And so I ran this through with some gold foil and I was super impressed. Look at all the detail that comes out. It is some of the best foiling I've ever had, and it was not with a foil plate, it was with the press plates. So give it a try if you have both. Now I'll take a little bit of Distress Oxide ink in Sponge Sugar on a small detail brush and just blend around some of these flowers. I am not trying to cover the entire flower. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's going to be white spots showing. I'm just trying to get a little bit of color down, and the gold foil does resist the ink, so that's really handy. And having these smaller detailed blending brushes also comes in handy, especially getting in those smaller spots with those leaves. For the panel that I used with the BetterPress, I have cut it down to about 4 by 5 1/4. This is a piece of gold mirror cardstock that I've die cut a whole bunch of different things out of. So I'm just putting tape runner in all of the areas where there is foil in the center, avoiding those exterior areas that are going to be my margin. So I was able to mat that perfectly down. And the back will get covered up with my card base. Now I have some fashion gold embellishments from Spellbinders. I have 3 different sizes, so I'll use those in some of the flower centers just as a little embellishment, but I just love the detail you get from the BetterPress. Next up, we have the Mirrored Arch Nested Sprigs press plate. Now, this one actually goes with the Mirrored Arch dies, but I'm going to show you a way that you can use it without those dies if you want. Best results are going to be with the dies. So the dies cut out the shape that I'm putting down right here. It doesn't cut out that outside shape, but it cuts out that mirrored arch shape. And so it would be much easier to just run each of them through and die cut them out and then layer them on top of each other. So what I decided to do was try to place them down inside the plate that I ran before. And the reason that I couldn't put them all down together is because I wanted them all to be different colors. So I had to place the new plate down inside the old plate, remove the old plate, and ink up the new plate. And that pretty much worked. It's a little wonky and a little not straight, but it did the trick. And I love the way those colors look together. So I did cut that panel down to about 4 by 5 1/4 so I could mat it on some bright blue cardstock. And I just love this set though, so I might have to go grab those mirrored arch dies for myself. Next up, we have the Mother's and Father's Day sentiment press plates. What I love about this set is that all the sentiments come on one press plate. So you're going to use the same color with all of them, but then go ahead and do them in other colors. So I'm trying out a gold pigment ink from Catherine Pooler. I am using the Spellbinders cotton cardstock because I think having the pigment ink impressed down into that cotton makes it less likely to smear. I did also use black ink to see how that looked. Again, the font is very delicate and very beautiful. I love that you get one die that cuts them all out at the same time. This is the Luxe backdrop and border 3D emboss and cut. So what I did was I cut with the die across an A2 piece of pink cardstock. And then I placed that piece into the emboss folder and then embossed it. Now I have this and I'll add some white pigment ink on top. And I love the way the white pigment ink calls out the details of the embossed background. Next, I'll take one of those sentiments that we BetterPressed and die cut out and pop that up. And then I'll use some tape runner behind the 3D emboss and place that down at the bottom of the card. It's just a really easy way to create a stunning design. I did forget to mention the Mighty Mister before I embossed that last cardstock. Definitely when you're using a 3D embossing folder, especially using that Mighty Mister first, getting the paper just a hint wet, and then running it through the 3D embossing folder works really well. Now this part of the embossing folder was at the top. I was able to fit an entire A2 piece of cardstock at that top, embossed it, cut it down to 4 by 5 1/4, and used one of the other BetterPress and die cut sentiments. I know that's a lot, but I wanted to include all of these collections together because there are so many beautiful BetterPress options here from Spellbinders. And I wanted to share how easily the BetterPress makes creating very elegant or even fun and unique and colorful designs. There's really so many options available. I hope you can tell that I'm so excited about all the new supplies that are coming out from Spellbinders to use with the BetterPress. I think it is one of the easiest tools. There's no learning curve, and it's so much fun to get that very elegant and unique look on your cards of letterpress. If you want to see more details about the BetterPress, I'll link to my first video that I ever filmed with it here. As always, I want to thank you so much for stopping by and spending time with me today. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you again soon. At the BetterPress registration plates, registration press plates. Okay. With it here.